Say, man, for those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what's coming next. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're gonna get to that other shit in a minute. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is shit. Everything is vibration. So before we do anything else, just vibe. If I ain't anything else to you, just let me be the smile on your face. Although I'm a man that's capable of many things, it's time to open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind. One time. Now vibrate. By the time I'm done with you, we gonna be humming together like that, baby. Say, man, you fucking with the right one. And you see, it's understood already that I'm a whole vibe or you wouldn't be tuned in. But I want you to realize that you a whole vibe yourself. But until then, you can try to catch mine. I'm a horse of a different color though. I don't know what day it is in whatever city, state, continent, country, density, or dimension that you in, but it's Friday here in Narnia at this time of this recording. Like I said, just let me be the smile on your face. Somebody gotta be. What it was though. Y'all know who it is, and if not, I can't tell you this time. And you tuned in with priceless knowledge of self, and this right here, this ain't shit but some cosmic insight, man. And let me tell you, bro, it ain't really nothing else to say because this one is real murky, man. And y'all want to go on a trip? Let's go to Neptune, okay? And in this case, you know, when I'm thinking about it, most people ain't gonna want to go there alone, right? At least not these people. So this right here, it's a little something about those people that have Neptune in the 7th house of their natal chart. And before we actually get to that, what we're going to do first is I'm going to give you all a quick breakdown of the meaning of Neptune, a little bit about the energy that comes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, you know, I'm going to give you all a quick breakdown about the 7th house of the astrological chart and what that's all about. Then after that, we're going to bring it to a culmination. And so, without further ado, let's get it cracking. So, Neptune. Neptune is named after the Roman god of the sea, and it's the modern ruler of the sign of Pisces in the 12th house of the astrological chart. But I'm going to tell you now that if you ask any traditional astrologer or any Vedic astrologer, they're going to say that Jupiter is the ruler of the 12th house on the sign of Pisces. But I'm going to tell you that they do it together, and Neptune's influence is a little more strong in this case. But, other than that, another thing they don't talk about is that Neptune is actually considered as the higher octave of Venus. And that's because it's all about compassionate acceptance and unconditional love of all that is. Okay. And, that's because it's also with Uranus and Pluto, what I call transpersonal planets. And that's because they really take us into realms that are well beyond rational and logical understanding. And in this case, Neptune connects us with the divine. Okay. And it's really the planet of inspiration, of sensitivity, of dreams, of illusions, fantasies. And it also intensifies our sensitivity and our intuition, but it also clouds our perception of reality, whatever that is. And, it deepens our compassion too, if we allow it to. It relates to photography, to film, to dance, to music, to painting, to poetry. And, it also rules over drugs, both those that have the power to heal us and those that, could really alter our sense of reality, whatever that is. And it takes about 165 years to transverse the whole zodiac. So if you ever meet somebody that had a Neptune return, they bad motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? But all BS to the side, man. With that being said, and it's been about 14 years in each sign, it's definitely one of those generational planets. Meaning, it's going to come across in a similar way, to those that were all born in that 14-year time span. For instance, I was born in the Neptune and Capricorn generation, okay? For mine is in the 3rd house, and we already talked about that, okay? And so, even beyond that, man, when we're talking about the house placement, that's where it gets personal. And you all know that this is what we're going to do here. We like to get real personal around here. And so, when we're talking about the house placement, it'll tell us what areas of life that we might be idealistic and have artistic tendencies, and, as well as where we might be delusional and want to escape reality, wherever that is. And, the aspects show us what other areas of life that are affected by our dreams and where we might be divinely gifted, as well as, where we might not be seeing things as clearly. And there's a lot more, because this one is really vast as the deep blue sea, but yeah, pun intended. We're going to move on now. So the 7th house. The 7th house is commonly referred to as the house of partnerships. It's because in this house, we see a shift away from self toward another. And, by cooperating with and relating to another, we unite for the purpose of achieving something greater, which is basically what happens here in the 7th, man. And that shows us that partnerships can really take on many forms, including business partnerships, marriages, legal contracts, negotiations and agreements, little best friendships and things like that. And it shows how things will go with them to a certain extent too, man. It's here that we also answer questions like, why do we choose particular relationships? Is it for love, or is it for money? Is it for practical reasons, or even social considerations, man? There's many reasons for us to couple with another, and it's usually just to find balance and to fill a void. And, that's within ourselves. And with that being said, there's something I want you to understand about the planets and the energy that comes along with the 7. This is not some energy that's readily available or seen within ourselves. So what happens is we go look for it in the next person. And then even when we don't find it, we project it onto people, not realizing that what we're searching for, that what we're projecting, what we're seeking is really within ourselves the whole time. And so that's what ends up happening with this 7th house energy. It's not energy that you're really going to be, seeing and working with on a day-to-day basis. This is going to be energy that is there, but you're really seeking it out and trying to find it in somebody else. And until you realize it, it's always going to, kind of be an interesting energy for you. I can't say good or bad, but you're going to seek it out in these relationships. And will those relationships work out? Who knows? Because you haven't found balance within self first. And That's what the axis of the first and the seventh house are all about, the ascendant and the descendant, to be honest with you, man. And even beyond that, man, the seventh can show us how our partnerships can really greatly enhance our existence on this plane. And it also show us that the tensions and the problems that we have in our partnerships and our relationships can really serve to teach us major lessons. And any planets, like I said, placed here can also speak to the energies that we have to work with in that area of life, whether it be negative or positive, man. And don't forget that, this is one of the angular houses of the first, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th. So these are extremely imperative, in our life, in society, in the whole chart, all the way around. These are cardinal houses, if you really want to know what I mean, man. And so, let me tell you, man, with Neptune in the seventh, this is one of those ones, y'all. This is one of those ones, man. And that's because this position of Neptune, any position of Neptune, actually, to be honest, it shows where we seek the ideal and the unattainable. So when you're seeking that in relationships, that's going to cause some issues, man. It's going to cause some issues. And, with Neptune in the seventh, that's what it's going to suggest. It suggests that for these people in particular, man, in these relationships, man, they're seeking perfection. And they never ever realize that's just an illusion that actually is impossible to find. It's just impossible. There's no such thing as perfection in relationships, man. Matter of fact, if you're looking for any form of perfection in a human being, you're always going to fall disappointed. Understand? I'm going to let that soak in. Let that sizzle in your spirit, like Country Wayne said. Anyway, man, let me also say that, y'all with Neptune in the seventh, these people, they need to learn that it's extremely imperative for them to learn some really strong emotional boundaries and be grounded in those relationships, which even being able to do that was so easy to say and almost next to impossible to do for these people. Understand? I don't have this placement. So that's interesting. And so also, man, I'm going to shoot it straight with you, man. These people with Neptune, this is going to make you prone to illusions and making a lot of them really gullible in relationships. There's a lot of them that ended up, falling for the old motherfucking okie doke from a motherfucker that ain't worth shit, or old fuck boy or fuck girl, because, they weren't somebody that they portrayed themselves to be in the first place, which, that's rough. That's rough. With this placement, there's always going to be some frequent misunderstandings and miscommunications going on when they're dealing with people on a one-on-one basis, man. Because it's a humongous challenge for them to just learn, to start seeing things for what they really are when it's people that they're dealing with in those situations, man. And even looking deeper than that, man, 7th house Neptune individuals, they really, they're very sensitive to the influence of others. They're probably some of the most sensitive to the influence of others that there are. So, it's to their utter detriment that they just stay around people, that would be considered the right kind of people. And the thing about the right kind of people is that varies for each individual person. And so they're going to have to find out what the right kind of person is for them. But for them, they need to be around somebody that's healthy for them, because being around the wrong type of people they're going to get caught up in it, absorbed in it. They're going to become that, and there's always that saying that people say that, if you hang out in the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. Real spit, man. And even with that, man, let me say that people with this placement in the birth chart, there's a naivety that could really lead them astray in their choice in the people that they choose to partner with. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be their friends, whether it be their lover. It's just, these are people that not only are just looking for love in all the wrong places, like they're the people that they're close to. Like they're the type of friends where their mom is like, man, why are you fooling with him? You're going to get yourself in so much trouble. And then ultimately, sometimes they do. And that's just kind of what it is. But it's up to you to break your cycle, man. And another thing to look at is, is the 7th house is also all about legal matters. Please understand that. And with Neptune here, it's best to be careful when it comes to signing contracts and other legal issues. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you now that if you got Neptune in the 7th, it's best for you to just try to stay out of all legal matters and stay out of any courtroom whatsoever, period, because that the universe isn't in your favor in that way, man. And even moving on, man, another thing I know is that, Neptune in the 7th house people sometimes are attracted to people who just seem like they need saving. Or they project that image themselves of somebody that needs to be saved. And in any case, what they say, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save him. I'm going to put that in there. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that shit, man. Like, just don't do it, man. Sometimes you got to learn how to leave well enough alone, man. I don't care how attractive they are. I don't care how much they put on them heartstrings and that compassion is singing to you, man. You, how the hell you gonna pull a splinter out of the next man's eye or the next lady's eye when you got a log in your own eye? Come on, man. That ain't the way to go with it. It just ain't. It really ain't, man. And, the fact that they, they themselves, might put themselves in a position when they're all right or somebody that looks like they need saving for this motherfucking wolf to come through and come get them. That's beyond logical understanding. But that's something that I do see playing out with this position. That's not always, that's not always, but that's definitely something that could play out in this situation, man. And, I do know that learning to take responsibility for themselves and for their own actions, that's going to be a major life lesson for these folks. And then allowing people to take responsibility for themselves and their own actions. Like I said, man, that's the same way, man, even more of a challenge. They have this thing where they're often, giving even when their partner didn't even ask for nothing, man. And they give so much and so fucking often that they often give up on their own needs being valid or significant in the relationship. And, which ultimately leads to frustrations that, themselves culminate in conflict. So, I hope y'all can just see why I said this is one of those ones. This is one of those ones, man. It's confusing. It's frustrating. And a lot of the times, it just flat out ain't fair, man. It just flat out ain't fair. But, what you do with it is what you do with it. And what we also have to remember is that, planets in the 7th exhibit qualities that we seem to lack. And because of this, we seek them in other people. And, and even we project these energies onto our partners. And however, we do possess these qualities, but, we're just not readily aware of them. Understand that, man. So with these folks, a lot of the time they fail to see themselves, as clearly as they should be. And it has nothing to do with them looking and dealing with a toxic person all along. At the end of the day, it's you. It ain't them. It's you. And until you're able to look in the mirror and see yourself clearly, you'll never see anybody else clearly either. But, even if it don't play out like that, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that, man. And we all have all this energy available to us in our chart. And it's not going to play out the same for everybody. And even when it doesn't play out for you in a positive or in your favor, man, you don't have to feed into it, man. You can ignore that shit. Just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that, man. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it ain't about what you do. It's about how you do it. Understand? And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And it's been some priceless knowledge of self. I appreciate all the love and support. If y'all interested in the astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Okay? Hey, man, y'all like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon and get notified when I drop some new shit, man. And until next time, till y'all see me again, y'all keep it real, because that's all I'm going to do. Okay? I'm out.